Hello, everyone. Happy Sunday. Happy podcast day. Welcome to Technical with Sharlit Elise. We're finally on episode 18, and this week we have a different format. I like to change things up because I'm still kind of finding my style with the podcast, and I felt like some of the topics ran kind of long. That's really on me for the prior episodes, but like I'm a one-person production team. So if you have any feedback, feel free to share it. So let's get right into it. Today we have for our itinerary 4 topics. So first and foremost, this is an interactive show, so feel free to share your opinion live on chat or YouTube comments, Spotify comments. Do they have comments on Spotify? Yeah, just feel free to just message me about it if you have any questions, if you're looking for sources and stuff like that, and send it your way. So, first topic, they monetized the opt-out data collection law. This is in reference to back in episode 8, 10 episodes ago. In August, we covered the EU Digital Services Act. This is kind of a new development, and I never thought they would do this. Secondly, we'll be covering OpenAI DevDay. The keynote was this past Thursday, and I tuned in for most of it. I didn't get the full brunt of it, but we'll kind of recap in a quick way what new developments have arisen, and the custom GPTs, that is, in my opinion, kind of the highlight of the keynote. Next up, we got an AI pin, which is actually the name of the item of the device, as a smartphone alternative. So we got a little hardware talk coming up. And finally, Steam may let you hide your not safe for work games. Like Steam just has a lot of games that are questionable nowadays. Remember the times when we didn't have like Steam with naughty games? That it's been a few years for sure. But money on the table, right? But let's talk about how they monetized the Digital Rights Act. So as you remember, the EU Digital Services Act introduced a law that allows users to opt out of targeted ads. This is for the EU, and it became law. And all the big companies, YouTube, Meta, Google, Meta, all these platforms, all these companies, they're supposed to abide by it. And YouTube started making moves to create that option. But this law was supposed to be for the people. It was supposed to be a big step in giving people their privacy. Unfortunately, companies like Meta, they make a tremendous amount of money when it regards to collecting data from their users. In 2022, Instagram has made $51.4 billion. Instagram. I mean, you see ads, but ads in stories, and when you scroll, how is it that much? They do make a lot. And it's all made possible by serving ads and collecting data on the 2.3 billion users. And that was back in 2022. And Instagram is still getting more installations. So this law is forcing Meta to respond. And this is their response. They allow users to opt out of targeted ads and data collection, but at a cost. I mean, it's no surprise that they would want to monetize something, but at the same time, it's still a surprise how this law was interpreted this way. And I'm pretty sure the people who created the law thought of something like this because it makes total sense. Now they, in a way, know that targeted ads are a threat, and they use that to incentivize people to pay the cost. So users in the EU were greeted with this. So this is a prompt for all people on their Facebook and Instagram. And they're saying the laws are changing in your region. So we're introducing a new choice about how we use your info for ads. You'll learn more about what each option means for you before you confirm your choice. So you can subscribe to use your Instagram account without ads for 13 euros a month. And your info won't be used for ads. They didn't say they weren't collecting info, but they said your info won't be used for ads. And then, or you could continue using the service as is, which I think is the experience now. Like, people are getting plenty of ads. You can discover products and brands through personalized ads. Ron says, imagine a paid social media. I think that's the direction we're going, right? I think once they standardize a paid social media, they're going to continue serving ads. Now you're just paying for it, right? So we'll see what happens. To use our products for free without ads, you agree to Meta using your info for the following. Continue use cookies in our products to personalize your ads and measure how they perform. Your experience will stay the same, which is what I'd guess. You can change your choice or adjust your settings at any time. Basically, if you want to give us money at any time, it's perfectly fine. We are committed to your privacy and keeping your information secure. So nothing really changed there. And the subscription will have a weird kind of monetization aspect. So for an ad-free experience, you pay 13 euros. But if you have additional accounts after March 1st of 2024, you will have to pay for those additional accounts. And sometimes people have accounts for their dogs. Sometimes people have accounts for their stuffed animals. Chonkers doesn't have an account. Maybe I should do it. But until then, like, I wouldn't want to pay for it, right? But then again, I'm fine with the ad experience. And yeah, you could cancel your payments and preferences. Basically, you could unsubscribe whenever you want, but you need some time to. And basically, it's another way of monetizing or making up for how much projected cost or how much projected income you would bring to Meta. So to charge users, if they expect users, if they value each user at around 13 euros a month, then, apparently people buy enough off of Instagram to make up for that amount. I know that for Instagram sales, there's a lot of skepticism. People don't trust the products offered on Instagram. I have bought things off Instagram, and I don't really want to. It was like a rave thing. I had to have these light up shoes. They were so amazing. But it took 3 months to ship. I got my product, and it was fine, and it functioned perfectly. And it fit, and everything was fine. But it took 3 months. I planned way in advance back then for raves, and I think I still do. So here's the catch, though. If you buy the subscription off of the Google Play Store or the Apple Store, the cost is 13 euros a month. But if you buy it off the website, it's 10 euros a month. So any overhead that the platform or any additional charge that the platform is charging Meta, they're taking it out of the users, which is kind of outrageous if you think about like how much additional cost it is to users for just subscribing through a different means. So if you are interested in getting an ad-free experience or a non-targeted ad-free experience, because you're still going to see brands, then maybe you should get off the web and it saves you some money. So do you find an ads-free experience or opting out data collection important enough to spend $10 or €10? For right now, it's exclusive to EU and people over 18. But I mean, when it moves to the States, for the people in the States, like I actually don't, I don't have a problem with them collecting data. I have a problem when they collect data and they don't get it right. Ram says, I'd much rather pay for something else. Yeah, I think €10 is a lot. They should probably charge like €2, you know? €2, $3 like a month, because this is social media. It doesn't, this is squeezing people. Now, like you get perks too, I'm sure. Like you get a check mark, and some people really want the prestige of like a check mark. Like look at Twitter, X, I don't know what they call it, X Blue, Twitter Blue. I mean, it was Twitter Blue. Is it X Blue? I mean, even Elon Musk still calls it Twitter and X. He has said both in the past week. I think it was on the Joe Rogan podcast, and he was saying something about like, oh yeah, Twitter. so like as much as he wants it, he knows it's hard to call something just X, right? It just doesn't work with the language well. So I think it's good for some people if they want the associating like benefits of prestige. He went there again? Yeah, he did. Yeah. I mean, recently, I think the past 2 weeks is the anniversary of him buying Twitter. And a lot of news sites have covered how he has screwed up Twitter over the course of a year. And I don't think... I mean, I've followed the news. I am intrigued. I do like Elon Musk. I think he's a nut job. But I also recognize he's a hard-ass worker. Yeah, Joe Rogan did shoot an arrow at the Cybertruck, and it broke the arrowhead. The Cybertruck, though, we are going on a tangent. The Cybertruck, though, I have seen some images, close-up images of the seams of the truck. And they're like just kind of off. There are like gaps in the truck. It's not a like vulnerability where if someone shot a broadhead arrow at it, that like you'll get impaled, but it just, you're paying so much money for a vehicle, you don't want seams, like any technology needs to be clean when it comes to like hardware. Right? Like you can't be having seams in your car. But I'm sure that will be fixed at some point because they use like a steel alloy that's bulletproof. So anyways, we're totally going off. Oh, really? Your friend just started working at Tesla, and it looks like a PS1 model of a truck. I think that's the appeal. Your friend just started working at X. Okay. All right, well, good for your friend. Employment is fun. I'm sure working on that social platform is crazy. I'm sure like there's constant chaos because there's news of how like Elon Musk is like, he has temper tantrums. And honestly, I don't blame the guy, right? I get angry and I get frustrated over things, but I'm also not running 3 companies or 4, whatever, how many companies he has. I don't even know if boring company is still a thing. But like, he does have a lot of stress and he does work really hard. Obviously, he still needs to be professional because that's what it is. But the odd temper tantrum, I think I don't work there, so it's totally fine either way. But hey, whether it's X, whether it's Instagram or Facebook, another month, another subscription model. How about we talk about a subscription model that does give value? And that is going to be OpenAI had their DevDay Keynote this past Thursday, and they highlighted a lot of interesting new features coming to ChatGPT. Oh God, I'm so excited for this. So I had an opportunity to listen in to most of the DevDay stuff. I was like walking and just hanging out, doing errands and just, like enjoying nature. It was a really great day in New York. I think it was Thursday. Yeah, it was Thursday. So I was listening to it on the same day. Yeah. And a few of the things that I gathered was that ChatGPT is getting GPT-4 Turbo. So, quick recap, GPT-4 is the latest and greatest of the large language models, and they're smart enough to give you like feedback and problem solve and do so much more. Now they introduced a turbo feature or a turbo level, turbo tier, right? Think of it as like the RTX graphics card, right? You got like your 4090 and then you got like you got your 2080. Let's talk about my experience. I got my 2080, but I would like a 2080 Ti. So what does this turbo model really give you though? It's a model trained on information that is up to date up till April 2023. So a lot of times in the past, while the language model is smart, the data is dated. It doesn't know about certain things that has transpired after. Additionally, this new model is capable of generating 300 pages of text within a prompt. So if you ask them, can you explain quantum computers in great detail so that I can create my own or something, like just something really hefty. And they should be able to produce a sizable amount of data so that you can get whatever you want. So another thing they started pushing is also that for developers, right, of the ChatGPT API. So I guess to kind of cover that is like, your cell phone. There's a lot of apps on your platform, on your respective platform, that advertise like, oh, it's like smart AI and it can interpret phrases. They're using an API to hook into OpenAI. And every time you run a prompt, it costs them a token, right? It costs the company a token. Ram says, please invent quantum computer. Okay, thanks, bye. If you tell the AI to invent quantum computers, they're going to invent it and put themselves on it. You're just leading to our death, dude. I do believe that. I do believe AI is risky business, but for the time being, AI is not smart enough to wipe us out. So we're just enjoying it. So yeah, cheaper for developers to run. But what about the user experience, right? Going back to that, OpenAI is going to allow users to make custom ETs. They will be able to create their own custom bot. And using the OpenAI's new builder interface, you can program your own GPT. That's what they're calling them. You can program your own GPT without learning to code. So you could use like simple language. I don't even know how to do it. Simple language sounds easy. I would have to play around with it. And that's what I'm going to do. So next week, I will have my own custom GPT bot model, and I will try to train it to do something. And I will give you a step-by-step process or step-by-step overview of what I've done and where I've gone with it. So yeah, I'm actually going to make a chatbot. If it's so easy, if it's difficult, then, it's difficult. But they did a live demonstration of this on the dev day, and they had a person with no coding required make a custom agent in 3 to 4 minutes. So it's not only is it easy, or they say it's easy, it seems to be really quick. And so what's the point of all these users making GPT bots. Well, you could use it to serve whatever personal purpose, or you could sell these GPT bots on the OpenAI storefront. They are going to create a platform to sell these GPT models that people create. So if you decide to create a creative writing bot that has detailed descriptions in like a subgenre like noir writing, right? Then you could sell that on the store. And when you put it on the store, well, okay, selling it is actually not the term I should be using, because you're not actually selling it. What you're doing is being a creator on the platform, and OpenAI has agreed to give users a share of their profits. So Sam Altman says, we're going to start with just sharing a part of the ChatGPT subscription revenue overall. There'll be a tier based off of how many active users you have, plus some category bonuses. I expect that to evolve a lot. So over time, this is actually, to talk about, it's actually very similar to the Fortnite model, the Roblox model. Well, actually more close to the Fortnite model, because that is the OpenAI is taking parts of their revenue to give back to a community that keep people engaged with OpenAI. So with all this new stuff, they're also deploying a copyright shield for enterprise and enterprise level developers. So that means they will step in and defend our customers and pay the costs incurred if you face legal claims around copyright infringement. Because the fact of the matter is, these models are pre-trained on a lot of data. And sometimes that might flag your content or your software that you make and you share it, and it could cause a cease and desist. It could cause legal troubles, and that's what OpenAI is guaranteeing, that they'll support you if you are to incur any legal costs. Hi, Ayanami. So if everything is as easy as it sounds, and imagine you didn't have to get a subscription, would you even bother making a chatbot? Because you'll need to learn how to code. You don't need to pay. Imagine if you don't need to pay, because you do need to pay. And the payment is only $20 a month. $20 a month, I say only, but that's because compared to the value of blocking ads on Instagram, which is already like 13 euros, 20 a month to get like actual benefit sounds pretty reasonable to me. So I don't know what you guys will make. I will make one for next week. I haven't figured out what type of model I'll make. I'll have to play around with it. I'll get some ideas. If you have any ideas on what type of ChatGPT model I should play around with and I should create, let me know. You guys can always reach me on Discord and all that stuff in the links below and stuff. Rom says, anything is reasonable compared to paying for social media. Well, I think that's up to each individual user, right? What they find value. Some people don't want to build AI. Some people don't use AI. I don't use AI like day to day. I don't like ask Bing for anything, really. I do once in a while, but I have not fully integrated into like my workflow, into just my thought process. But maybe because the AI doesn't serve the purposes I need, maybe I just need to make my own. Yeah, so be on the lookout for that on the next episode. But for now, let's look at our hands and hardware for our hands. In fact, wearable hardware. This past week, I think it was also Thursday, Humane, a AI tech company, has released an AI pin as a smartphone alternative. You see this device? It's not going to be replaced. No, but it is an alternative. Ram says he cannot wait for a Shar AI. Dude, you don't want Shar AI. That's the cult AI. My cult AI is just going to want to murder people. Maybe, you know, it'd be funny. I ended up creating like the AI that kills everyone because I based it on this cultist like theme, right? So Ram asked, do I regret buying the new Pixel? No, I actually think it's really good. I needed a new phone. My last phone was 6 years or so, and it's really good. But how does a standard smartphone compare to Humane's AI pin? So this AI pin is a pin you would wear on your shirt. You clip to your lapel, sweater, and it's capable of making calls, sending texts, looking up data, and even giving you feedback on kind of the world around you, right? And all this is controlled by voice controls and gesture controls. I'm not actually sure of the term. It is gesture. It's a kind of gesture, and you'll see for a little bit. But this pin has a little projector, as you could see in this image. So this is the AI pin. That's what it's called, AI pin. And has like a little camera. It's kind of cute. It's not very big. And Ayanami says, a pin that constantly listens in and evaluates everything I say or do. It's wonderful. It is wonderful. Kind of. But yeah, like this is a tiny device that is for the most part not intrusive, right? You wear on your shirt, and yeah, maybe if you like move, you could like knock it off, right? If you ever have worn any microphones or anything clipped to like a shirt, then you know it's still kind of annoying, right? And this would be the same. You just can't feel as agile. So depending on how the device is secured is really going to matter. They actually need a pin in it to keep it, to make me feel comfortable. I've used magnetic clips where you put a magnet on the other side of the shirt or the collar, and then you put the device on top. Like that does not feel safe. I've done the clips, and personally, that's why I still use a boom mic. I don't like having to worry about this, but it's an alternative. It's not a replacement. Ayanami says, looks like a clothing RFID tag with a camera. It does a little more than camera work. Let's go over the functions to see what it really does. So, how do you interface with something this small, right? It's not designed for you to look at. It's designed for you to wear. So I call it a wearable, right? Because it is a wearable. So if we look at this, you can see some simple functions, right? So if you want to wake up the device and activate it, you long press on the surface of the device. And what it does is it also has a projector. So this projector is designed to project onto your hand. So you would hold it out in front of you, and you have to line up the projector to your hand. And I think it sounds cumbersome, but I think when, like muscle memory, it would be pretty easy. And then you could read off of your hand. So Ayanami says, so people on the subway no longer stare at their smartphone, but instead at their bare hands. Oh my God, that is going to be so funny, right? There's going to be like one person in the row like this, and another person like this, right? Because everyone's on their phone, right? I'm usually not on my phone. I'm usually listening to music and just like, in the moment, right? And then you got this one person like, seems like grandpa, I get grandpa vibes, right? It's like, I can't see it. I can't see it. So can I combine two hands to make a bigger screen, says Rom. I mean, it's a projector. I think you can, but then you would have to hold it out further away, right? Because I'm sure they designed the projector to fit on one hand. But think about it. Think about the users that have smaller hands. I have a normal sized palm, but my fingers are very, very long. I have very long fingers. So that becomes a problem. So if I wanted to use two hands, I think you fold your hands together like this. And as awkward as it looks, I guess it could work. In fact, I want to try this device just so I could do it as like a social experiment. I want to be on the subway and I want to double palm and read off of my hands. So yeah, so this is kind of what it would look like, right? You know, just a longer look at the text function. You can navigate the display by tilting your hand and putting your pointer finger and your thumb together to activate the command, which is very similar to Apple Watches, right? It's the same thing. Like, you know, you do some kind of hand gesture. So this pin, I wouldn't say it's a true smartphone alternative. I would say this pin is more like a watch alternative, right? The marketing says it's targeting smartphones, but how do you YouTube on that thing? I doubt that projector projects anything but that green color. Maybe it has different colors. I don't know. But I do, even if it could, I do not want to watch a YouTube video on my hand. It's almost, I don't know if it's more tiring to do this than to hold a phone like this. Right. Ayanami says, it might be cool with contact lens screens, but not sure if that's even a thing as of now. I think that's the next step. It's about compressing the technology, right? I think overall this device is pretty neat. But to go over it one more time, look how long this text message is. How much can you actually fit on your hand? I'm outside. Most people don't type. Well, okay, some people type I'm outside. Some people type outside. But what if someone's like, hey, I got stuck on a train. There was like some, like, I don't know, problem with the signals. You know, I'll be there in 15 minutes. Like, so you're reading it and it's showing like 2 or 3 words at a time. And what? You're scrolling. And you just keep doing this? Like, is that what they want us to do? So I don't know how it really be. But on top of all this basic smartphone, like, communication stuff, right? You know, you could also voice command it and ask, oh, how many, I don't know why my brain came to cheeseburgers, but how many cheeseburgers are on the McDonald's menu? Right? Like, and then they could give you something, some detail, because once again, it's an AI, right? Oh my God, you guys give like the best comments. You reply, hand too small, can't read. And people be like, stop using that stupid pin. And then all you could read is stop using. Oh, great. Let's see what else he said. Ayanami says, it could serve as a guide for people with medical or mental conditions that need assistance in daily life. I mean, I think there are other devices for that, though. I mean, maybe there's some application there. Jarmaid said, smartwatches will always be useless to me. I have found use in the smartwatch I have. I was gifted a smartwatch by my friend and a sub to the channel. And I use it to get up-to-date information on text, because at the time my phone didn't have battery. I have texted with it. It's not my go-to because it is a little slower. And, you know, with practice, you could get used to it, but it's kind of annoying. But it works and it tracks my steps and do all like these things and control my media, which there's so many ways to control, but it's good to have more options. So on top of all the smartphone stuff, it has the ability to has the ability to analyze objects in real life. So if you let's say you hold up your smartphone and you're like, oh, what is this? The pin will be like, oh, that is a Pixel 8, not a Pro, because poor. Like, no, I mean, I didn't get it because of that. I do like the smaller form factor, okay? But like, it could recognize objects in real space, and it could give you details about the object. So, for example, this dragon fruit, right? If you held the dragon fruit up to the camera, they would give you details about it. How much sugar is in this, right? How much sugar is in this? You don't even need to say what it is, right? Because they'll identify as a dragon fruit. And they'll say a whole dragon fruit contains 7.31 grams of sugar. Now, they can tell you this over voice, but if they're using green text in this advertisement, I assume they expect you to read it off your hand. But that means you'd have to, if you put the pin on the left side, you'd have to hold the object in your right hand and then screen it on your left. Let's say you can't have it, you're in a meeting space. First of all, you shouldn't be going into meetings with this because no one likes a fucking camera pointed at them at all times. Yeah, you're not, now that I think about it, you won't even be able to go work with that thing. Like, that's just not a good vibe, right? Because everyone be like, why am I being recorded? Anyways, yeah, so if it can be cumbersome, but it does have some nice uses. Like, it keeps track of your diet, right? So if you give it information, right, because you got to feed information into it, I want to eat this much sugar per week or per day, right? And then it would log all that data, and then it would cross-reference that data. And you could ask it, oh, can I eat this? And they're like, probably not good for your diet. So wouldn't a Google Glass be a better framework for this? Absolutely. Ray-Ban has partnered with, I'm trying to remember, is it Apple? I think it was Apple. I'm not sure. Someone has some kind of smart glasses out there. But Ray-Ban was the provider for the frames. And that's going to have like contextual object analysis and stuff like that, because it has cameras, microphones, speakers. It would be more intuitive, but that's only if people wear glasses. For people who don't wear glasses, they might find it more annoying, right? So wearable tech is about comfort. It's about seamless integration. If it's not seamless, at the end of the day, it's going to be a cool toy, but it's not going to be an everyday device. But maybe you want the camera functionality. So here is what it would look like from the camera. If you are paddling into the middle of nowhere, maybe this is how it would look like. I don't know how authentic this camera quality is. They have shown promotions that show it, but if the camera quality isn't good, I also suspect that the AI will enhance the image. So maybe this is accurate to the post-processing that the image would probably have. It does not, it does capture video, but the interesting thing is I went to the website for the AI pin and I try to look up the resolution of the pin and for video, and they didn't say the resolution for video. They didn't say it. And I think the camera is 720p. So they didn't say the resolution. So that already has me like, okay, clearly the camera is not up to snuff. And in fact, a lot of the marketing that I've seen, there's no video that I've seen. I'm sure there might be something out there, but people can test it now because this product is actually being sold now. So Ayanami actually asked, how does this establish a network connection? Via the smartphone? Well, I think this is what distinguishes this being a smartphone alternative rather than a smartwatch alternative, which I'm not wearing today because tight sweater. This device is going to cost people $700. All right. And $700 is within the realm of smartphone range. A watch is $300, $400, but this pin is $700. And because it's a smartphone alternative and it needs all this data, you can get a T-Mobile plan for it. And I think right now the only provider is T-Mobile. And you'll get unlimited calls, texts, and data for $24 a month. So it's not that expensive. But this amount, I mean, how much data are you really pulling on this device? Maybe you could take a call, right? Maybe you could listen to music, send some texts, schedule some things, ask it some questions. But if you're going to replace your phone with this, then I think it's fine because $24 a month would be pretty cheap. But I also highly doubt you want to replace your phone with this pin, right? There are so many benefits to this device, having a screen, that it just doesn't make sense to do this all day. But it's a new toy, and it definitely, Ram says it has Kickstarter vibes, scam vibes. I don't think it's a scam. I think it's a big gimmick. I think it's so far-fetched and out of touch with reality of how people will utilize a device, for most people, that is, that like it's kind of more of an exercise in capabilities rather than anything. Does this pin come with AirPods or something? How would you call someone with it? I think you just talk. Hopefully you don't have to like talk into your chest because you know, like you don't want to be the person on the subway that's like talking into your chest and then, hello? Yeah, I got your text. It says you're going to be at what? Like, you don't want that look, right? I make fun, but all in all, it's a cool toy. I see it as a toy, and it has a lot of functionality in a small form factor, but a watch can do the same. We also have to look at battery life. How much battery does a projector take compared to having an on-screen display? Well, compared to an on-screen display on your watch, right? Like, watches can last us like 2 or 3 days. Some of the lower end watches, which is like the Google Watch, is only a day. And if you're lucky, a day sometimes. But projectors, right? They're power hungry, right? Because you have to push more light. But maybe it's less light because it's projecting like basically only text, right? I doubt you're seeing images. They didn't say anything about changing the color either, right? So we don't even know if this projector, or I don't even know if this projector has color capabilities. Maybe it's just teal. This gives off Star Trek vibes. Tap the tag on your chest once and then speak and listen. Maybe that's their inspiration. I see if this projector didn't require you to put your hands up, if this thing had great battery life, because I doubt it has great battery life, as a battery attachment, which is like a block you attach to it, right? So if Caesar's, my little crab, is the pin, this is your shirt, right? You would put a backup battery on the other side of it. Oh, no. You would put it like this, and then you would put on your shirt, I think. I don't know. I don't know exactly what they expect users to do, but all right, it's cool. I like wearable tech. It's not very cumbersome, but you cannot pretend like this device isn't clipped to you. And I'm sure you wore it in the office or walking down the street, and you talk to anyone, they're like, are you filming me? Right? because that's just a natural reaction. People aren't used to wearable cameras, body cams, right? Maybe on policemen, but police people. But like, yeah, like people would ask. So you guys are talking about projectors and not power hungry, but I guess, I don't know. We'll have to see. Because remember, everything you say is going to be collected, right? And it's going to use bandwidth to send to the provider, right? To collect data and to analyze things. So that constant pinging of your device to the network is going to drain battery, probably more so than anything. Anyways, yeah. So would you, if you didn't have to pay for this, if you didn't have to pay $700, if you didn't have to pay the $24 a month before tax, because they're going to fucking tax you after that, would you use this device? Would this fit into your life in addition to your current phone or watch? Would you find a use for it? The feature that I find useful is that I would use the scanning feature. I would use it, but there's not many things I want to scan. Ram says, for free, I'd sell it and get a smartphone. You probably could sell it and get a smartphone. Ayanami says, it's a cool tech study, but it's not practical. No, it's not. I would use it to scan things, but I don't ever scrutinize the things that I consume, right? I don't be like, oh, how much whatever is this apple, right? Like how much vitamin is in this apple? Like I eat the apple. Like micromanaging nutrition on that scale is only if you've have like health problems. For the most part, you'll need to go to that extreme. No matter how hard you work out, unless you're like bodybuilding or doing some like really extreme competitive stuff. Otherwise, for the most part, it doesn't matter, right? So that's it. That is wearable tech in its latest iteration. I think it's cool, but I hope to see more in the future. But seeing sometimes isn't believing, if you will. Soon, and there are rumors, that Steam may let you hide your not safe for work games. According to Pavel, and I might screw up his last name, Jundik, he is the creator of SteamDB. He said there is a new function coming to Steam that will allow users to hide games in their Steam library. They will be marked as private, and users on your friends list included will not be able to see that game. So if you are hopelessly addicted to Dota 2, and you don't want people knowing you have 12,000 hours in Dota 2, and you're still not a pro, then maybe you should hide it so you don't get... Isn't there already such feature? Not that I know of. Here's how it looks like. This is a post on Twitter, X, from Pavel, at the XPaw. I don't know. The guy does work, okay? He does data mining on Steam, and he is the creator of SteamDB, so there might be some credibility here. He showed a preview of how it would look like. You hit the 3 dots, and you could mark a game as private. So why would a user want to hide games? What are some potential uses for this? Maybe you like playing some sleazy, not safe for work games. And there's no judgment, right? I have games too. I don't play them actively, not like you. No, I'm kidding. Sorry. I can't keep shaming people. But like that might be one reason why you would want to hide a game. As I mentioned before, like maybe you want to hide the shame of not making it pro after 15,000 hours in Dota 2. Or maybe you want to hide your playtime from your boss. Why do you have your boss on your Steam friends? I don't know. That was a problem you fucked up on a few months ago when you said, sure, let's play games. And now you're not really cool with your boss. You can't unfriend him. You're going to get fired. So what can you do? You could just hide the game that you're playing so you could pretend you're not playing games. so your boss doesn't get upset because he's actually not invited. Or another use I could think of is to practice a game before game night. I guess, right? If you want to impress that friend of yours or that future partner of yours and show them how proficient you are at microing creeps in the jungle, I keep going back to Dota, and then yeah, you could go play some practice games and just hide that game from them. But are people really that nosy? Do they really care? Ayanami thinks so because finally, Ayanami says, I can play my beach splash games without getting shamed. I think at this point, there's no shame in it. People are going to have not safe for work games. And for me, it's totally fine. I think there's some people that might look at you weird, but, you know, it's really a security issue. If you don't feel comfortable with it, then this feature will be a great addition, right? And this addition will encourage users or remove some of the inhibitors that people might have when it comes to buying naughty games on Steam. I think that has been a problem. You want the game, but you don't want people judging you for having that game. Maybe you're a furry at heart. Maybe you didn't want to share it to all your friends as of this moment, but you still like your furry dating sims. Then go for it. So although this feature is not confirmed by Valve, it does make sense, right? And I do expect it to roll out. I don't know when, but it's a feature that could be kind of useful. So if there are any other reasons that you could think of to hide your games, I would love to know. For me, I'm not going to be hiding anything on my Steam list. You could see that I have put in several thousand hours into Dota 2, and I am still not a pro. Maybe that's where this Dota 2 came from. It's probably like projecting my Dota insecurities. I'm not insecure about it. But yeah, like, so if you want to use this feature, be on the lookout for it when it comes by, and then you could fully spend all your monies on pornographic material. Anyways, that wraps up today. We talked about so many things today. We talked about, let me go to the frame. We talked about Meta monetizing the ad-free experience on their social platforms, Instagram and Facebook. We talked about OpenAI having a DevDay keynote and the custom GPTs that will be accessible to users. And let me remind you, next week, I will have, throughout this week, I will have a personal project where I try to create my own GPT. And that will be the feature of next week's Tech Talk. And I will give you a rundown on how the process is and what I've come up with. If you have any ideas on what type of GPT AI model I should make, please let me know. And the more creative, the better. Let's keep it safe for work. You can always reach out to me with suggestions and comments and Discord and all. We talked about this AI pin being a very expensive wearable tech that's $700 with a subscription. That's basically a smartwatch. And finally, we talked about Steam letting users hide their naughty bits so that prying eyes will not see how shameful they really are. Anyways, yeah, thank you guys for this tech talk. We're going to be rolling into a gaming stream. I hope that you guys found this content really interesting. If you like it, follow, do all that good stuff. And I will see you guys with the Tech Talk next week.